preparing. And then especially if there's already other people around this chatting, sending pictures. So once this actually starts. And we shut it down.
You shut it down, you just need.
Nope, turn it off.
You turn it off.
I didn't turn it off, but I shut it down on this.
Okay.
So we still have no guests. Okay, so I know there's no way we're gonna come back next time.
It might not be perfect, but you know, we'll see.
Are you tech savvy? Yes.
I think I'm tech savvy enough. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like, you know, usually in my at work, I'm like doing those things.
Well, I would say
Well, you know, I work on like budget, but I'm always.
well, I mean, there's a lot of technology with.
Yeah, we've done all bronze.
So as we're chit chatting, we are
Live streaming.
we're live streaming. We're also being recorded on Zoom.
It'll pop up. Should we have to let them in?
Yeah.
And then
Hopefully there will be.
for printing the agenda, do I just print them and then?
Well, you may have noticed I only print the relative, you know, I don't print the 5 pages.
Okay.
You know, so I tend to bring 3 to 5 copies here. I mean, a lot more for them. Yeah, and I really hope we have.
I did email the people who said they were interested.
Yes, and Josh, your frustrated neighbor, indicated
Yes, I emailed him too, and told me he would apply.
right,
And,
but he was popping on and off some
each meeting.
executive. But he's
Oh, he
on
was
deadline on something
Oh, this week.
this week. And had indicated he might.
Yes, he told me that.
And then this is gal named Sun. Not let's see.
That
Hi, Michael.
Hi. How are you?
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you, Laura, for setting it up. Hi, son.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Meet you too.
So I usually don't start the meetings quite on time because people are slowly coming. And so this is the first meeting in years of this committee, and it's Robbie's first committee chairing. So I'm kind of talking her through some of the things. So we don't do this at governing board. So I will do that there's a little speech.
Okay.
Because it doesn't count at either executive or government. But for
Oh.
committee, yeah, we have committee rules.
Is it in there?
I don't think so. Let's just. Probably not. This is mostly the instructions for all the equipment. But it really is. What do you want to do? Start the meeting in a minute, 2 minutes?
Let's start the meeting at 7:05.
You know, this also works a little differently than the one at governing board. Because the one at governing board has, the split screens.
Yeah.
So it's very well, I think they're both called owls. But this one follows the speaker, so that, in other words, if I went over there, the camera is suddenly catching me over there.
Yeah. It's a little
Scary.
scary.
A little bit weird. And do you know how to screen share?
Just,
No, actually, we updated yesterday, so you have to go to more. It's there. So there's obviously the agenda. There you go. So you can probably start the meeting. Well, probably wait 1 minute. So it becomes more pertinent sharing, when it's like suddenly a presentation and it's like
Right.
PowerPoint and it's not looking right and get frazzled.
yeah. And you have so many tabs.
Right. Exactly.
Yes. All right, well, let's start the meeting. Let's have a call to order. And we're gonna review the UNNC standing rules for committee stakeholder voting participation.
Yes, so this is Laura speaking. UNNC has a unique way of handling its committees where we appoint the chairs and co-chairs, but we do not appoint members onto the committee. So we invite our stakeholders as members of any committee they are attending in the night of their attendance or day, during the course of the meeting. So a stakeholder during the course of the meeting may not just fully participate in conversation, discussion, but they can make a motion, they can vote. So the question is, what is the definition of a stakeholder? So a stakeholder is someone who lives, works, attends school, or is the parent of a child who attends school, worships, owns a business, owns a property, or participates in a community organization that is a 501c3 charitable organization with a brick and mortar address within the boundaries of UNNC. So the church would be within the boundaries, the school would be within the boundaries. So it's all of these entities within the boundaries of UNNC. So occasionally we will have people who are attending, but who live nearby or who live far away actually, but are interested in a shed. So that would not be a stakeholder. They couldn't vote and they could not make motions. So we then do introductions.
I'll go first. My name is Rabia Khan. I live in Jefferson Park.
And you're a stakeholder.
And I'm a stakeholder.
I'm Laura Myers. I live in Angeles Vista and I am a stakeholder.
And Michael?
I'm Michael Soderstrom. I am a resident of Harvard Heights and I'm a stakeholder.
And Sun?
I'm Sunmin Lee, and I am a homeowner and resident Jefferson Park. And yes, I'm just learning about the organizations that are here. I got very involved with Jefferson Park Watch group, and so I've been sitting in on several of your meetings and just learning to get to know my neighbors and how you guys are organized and the things that you are doing. So I'm just really excited to see this come up. You guys, yeah. So
Great. Well, we're happy that you made it to the meeting.
Okay, so you just,
And welcome.
so now you go through the agenda.
Okay, and now on tonight's agenda, we have general public comments. Then we will have the initial reformation committee meeting. Then we will set the next meeting date, and then we will adjourn.
Right.
So we're gonna open it up for general public comment now. Are there any public comments?
So these are comments on items not on the agenda. So this is Laura speaking again. And we've been mentioning this kind of at all our meetings. Now there's a boatload of events coming up. So starting with Saturday, I want to say March 28th, but it might be the 27th. The last Saturday of March, Council District 10 is doing a hazardous materials recycling event. So that'd be for things like old computers that are sitting in your closet,
Batteries?
Paint. Yes, exactly. All the things that that are hard to recycle, not impossible, but some of the things that are impossible, like smoke detectors. Very hard to find a place to take those. So that's the 28th. On the 4th of April, here at South Seas House in Betty Potter Park is the annual Spring Extravaganza, which is a big event for kids, Easter Bunny and stuff like that. And UNNC is doing outreach for it. At it. Saturday, April 11 is a tree planting and tree giveaway event in Western Heights. Saturday, April 18, back here at this park for Coffee with Cops, and that's Southwest Division, covering the avenues in Jefferson Park. May 9 is Fire Service Day. And we'll have 2 local fire stations that will be supporting, Fire Station 26 and Fire Station 94. And then more. That's by more than a minute.
Thank you, Laura.
Comment.
Anybody else?
None for
All
me.
right.
So I think you can take the agenda.
Okay, let me take. All right, so now we'll talk about item number 3 on the agenda. This is Rabia. It is the initial reformation committee meeting. So the UNNC Economic Development Committee has been on hiatus since 2021. Its approved mission is to interface with business stakeholders, beautification, and improving our business corridors. For this meeting, participants will discuss their own visions for what a UNNC Economic Development Committee should do, activities, issues, and concerns they would like to see the committee address, how to engage UNNC's business stakeholder community, and as well as whether the mission statement needs any updating. So
Yeah,
We're
where to
going-
begin?
yeah, well, we're gonna round robin it, and I think what I would like to do is hear if anybody has any initial thoughts and then go from there.
Well, this is Laura speaking. I would like to hear why you wanted to chair this committee. What's your ideas?
So I wanted to chair this committee because I do think that Jefferson Park and our neighborhood, a little bit of West Adams, the avenues, all of this, right? There is some business coming, there is some economic development, but it's not, there's still a lot of stuff that it would be nice to have in the neighborhood. And I also feel like we don't know what all the businesses are. I came from Highland Park. One time I needed there was like a Highland Park guide, like a business guide. So that would be something nice to have. I was looking for like an upholsterer. There's so many upholsterers in the neighborhood. So like, what's a good way for us to like know what's available to support local business and also encourage more to come? Because, like we're developing and I want to make sure that we have a say in like what happens in our neighborhood, because I lived in Highland Park and now I don't know if I would use a lot of the businesses there. They're not for me. So like, how do we make sure our neighborhood stays for us?
Okay. So I will say I've been here a long time. This is Laura speaking. And back before just before there were neighborhood councils, Council District 10 identified some funds and did a contract with Coro, which is a leadership training organization.
I'm in Coro.
And you're in?
Yeah.
So, to do a specialized Coro training for Council District 10 leaders. So we had a 12-week, twice a week course on vision plan mapping for all of Council District 10. And the boundaries were a little different, but it was amazing. And we broke off into teams, and the teams were not by region, so they purposely mixed us up. But we came back with a broad idea that in Council District 10, the statement was the last 20 years, so that'd be early 80s to early 2000s, because this was 20 years ago. Our residential neighborhoods had really vastly improved over that time, but that our commercial corridor is still a mess. So when I moved here in 83, Washington Boulevard, which is near where I live, and I imagine it's the same truth for Jefferson, but I don't know. But on Washington Boulevard, it looked like all the buildings were abandoned. And what they actually were sweatshops opening to the rear. So there was no pedestrian activity, there was no retail, no neighborhood serving business activity. So, we ended up having this vision that what we wanted to do was to revitalize our commercial corridors. Because this was true all throughout CB10, where they didn't have a lot of neighborhood serving businesses in the commercial strip. So we wanted to try and figure out how to make them pedestrian friendly, pedestrian oriented, green. And we didn't mean eco, we meant green, more trees. Yeah. We meant, more landscaping, more vibrant, more actual neighborhood serving, like you were saying. We have not achieved this goal. We have achieved the goal that it no longer looks abandoned. Yeah. Right. The doors open kind of onto Washington and onto Jefferson. But it's still, these are not vibrant, robust, pedestrian friendly areas. Now, Harvard Heights, Venice is a little different, I think. Michael, I mean, I see a lot of people walking around on Venice.
Yeah, certainly. I think it's one of the better streets between Normandy and Western. I think there's pretty good retail exposure there, and then along Western Avenue, you get pretty decent as well.
Right. I mean, not necessarily the businesses I personally would like to go to, Dave. Here and there and the other place. I mean, but I mean, not the demographically, we have a very diverse demographics. So, yeah. But I do see a lot of pedestrian activity more on Venice in that section. And then I also know that Pico Boulevard, from about Western going east, I don't know the exact boundaries, but we do have a business improvement. The Byzantine Latino BID. So it goes more east of Normandy. And I don't know how far west of on Pico from Normandy it goes. I don't know if it goes all the way to Western or not. We have not done a lot of interfacing with them. But the businesses on Pico Boulevard, again, very different than the businesses on Washington or the businesses on Jefferson.
And this is Robbie is speaking, just a question. I know Adams west of Crenshaw is commercial. More commercial, but that's not in our.
That is not in our footprint. And they have a bid. So it would be, and they're developing a lot over there. So well, there's also Jefferson Boulevard had a bid. I am not sure if it's revivable. I don't know if there's money sitting around somewhere. Yeah, but the bid there is. The bid is who did install the I don't even know what you call it, but it's the thing that goes up and over sometimes has lights and sometimes sort of welcome to Jefferson Park,
Yeah.
or it just says Jefferson Park. And the bid had managed to get that installed and then almost managed to get it lit. It'd be a different kind of project now because new solar LED would
Yeah.
be a whole lot different than whatever it
That
would
would
have been.
be cool.
But I don't know if there's any, I don't know the legal rules on recovering the money, if there was any money left. Don't know
So
the
we should-
situation.
Look into the old Jefferson Boulevard bid.
Yeah, I would think. We need to know when they're.
Yeah, I also would like to see if we can find what you did with Coro, 20 years ago, just to relook at it and see how much
Oh.
of it is still applicable, probably a lot.
Easy to find, DNR officers, right?
Oh, great.
Well, because we developed from that a Washington Boulevard proposed specific plan, and it was almost completely aligned with the Coral Vision Statement. And a lot of the people who were in that training ended up helping to establish all of the 10 CD10 neighborhood councils. So there's people still involved.
Dropping it so funny because I'm in the Coro Fellowship that's called Lead LA. This was Lead CD10, the one that you're talking.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
I wish we had done it for CD10 instead of just all of LA. That's really big. Okay.
I bet you Michael was here for a reason.
Yeah. What's going on with you, Michael? What are
Yeah.
you?
Totally. So I think there are sort of two things, actually, I guess three things. One, I think promoting existing businesses. I think we can come up with ways of doing that, perhaps registries. Perhaps we include featured businesses in our outbound mailings. And then there's, promoting new businesses coming in. We could perhaps come up with some sort of registry of landlords, try to reach out to entrepreneurial programs just to, promote Harvard, the UNNC
We can promote
district.
Harvard Heights.
Well, I was the UNNC district at large. But then also, I think I've been trying to think of ways of making us more impactful just in general. And I think perhaps positioning ourselves as a conduit between CD10, whatnot, and the business community might be a way that we can expand our influence and ability to get some of the other things that we want being done. So perhaps, this is where we broadcast out information. Maybe we reach out to a bunch of the local businesses, start a mailing list, and we're, announcing some of the zoning things that you're working on, some of the other things where they may not get that information through other means. We then fill them in, perhaps get them aligned to then come through us to then broadcast our voices out. So as we write out, community impact statements, whatnot, we can then speak on both our own voice, but then also, an explicit group of the business community at large. And I think perhaps this meeting can become a place where the businesses can come in and actually reach out to CD10 and get those kind of things. So I think we can sort of basically intermediate, as UNNC for some of the needs of the business community, and perhaps also then become more impactful with the other things that we want to do.
Yeah, I think that's great. I like the idea of trying to promote it as a conduit, between CD10 and us. Is that our hand? Oh no, okay. And I just want to say hi to Sean and welcome Sean to the meeting. And Sean, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry for being late. My name is Sean Harris. I live on 29th Street. Thank you so much for organizing this meeting. And I'm a newcomer to UNNC, but very much sort of invested and interested in business and economic development in our neighborhood. And so I do have a business background, particularly in strategy and operations. And so happy to be here and happy to help.
Yeah, and one thing I should mention, before the Economic Development Committee died,
Yeah.
well, we died in COVID, but before the UNNC Economic Development Committee died, it had sponsored and was planning another one for 2020, a walk on Washington. So, and it was a really great event. The one that was held and the one that would have been held in May of 2020 probably would have been a really great event, had not been shut down by COVID. Anyway, what it was an event that Washington Boulevard was not closed down. So it was a walk on Washington, but the streets were open. So we had from approximately Wilton Place to Crenshaw. Businesses were all open on a Saturday. So it was a lot of work to get the businesses that are not usually at the time, not usually open on Saturday to be open. They most of them had little giveaways. We also had what do you call that? Not a treasure hunt, but where you go to each of the businesses and they stamp your book, and if you finish it, you get a prize.
Yeah, it's not a treasure hunt. Isn't it scavenger hunt?
Scavenger hunt. And it wasn't exactly a scavenger hunt either. But I mean, it was really great. Like Truffle Brothers was,
Oh, yeah.
what are they now? Spaccio Salamaria, but they were still called Truffle Brothers at the time. They were serving free little plates of truffle pasta. And yeah, so a lot of places were giving away. One of the upholsterers actually was giving away pillows, which we still have in the living room.
Yeah.
And there was music, you know, I mean, it was really lively.
Was it like a block party?
Yes, but a lot of blocks.
Yeah.
And then we had used a church parking lot, the parking lot on Cimarron. I mean, so we used a church parking lot where we could have other business vendors who didn't have brick and mortar on Washington. So it was a really great event. We were going to do another one. We called it WOW, Walk on Washington. And then, of course, folks in Jefferson Park have said, can't we do one on Jefferson? And I've been struggling on and off for a long time. Well, what would it be? Jump on Jefferson? That's stupid. I mean,
Jefferson Jam.
yeah, but that's a music, not a walk. You know, in other words. But this was modeled after something in West LA that's really grown and grown and grown and grown. It's a big deal called Pick Pico.
Okay.
And it's, I think, in like a Rancho Park area. So, you know, might be something to look at. Did you say jamming on Jefferson? Anyway.
We're gonna.
Uh-oh.
Can I get rid of it? Okay.
Yeah, I know, this is. There we are.
There's something in the chat.
Okay, so.
Jamming on Jefferson.
Yeah, so we usually
Thank you for
don't,
your support, Sean.
thank you. We usually don't end up using the chat on a hybrid Zoom because it gets hard to
Yeah,
to read.
well, John, we're just sort of
casually round robin.
yeah, casually talking about ideas, things we'd like to see, so feel free to jump in. And Sun, is there anything you'd like to share?
Well, I got involved with my business, the business owners in my neighborhood, because we all shared a similar problem, which was crime and homelessness. And you know, so I reached out and, you know, met the property owners and called them directly and have been just getting to know each business owner, each property owner, kind of adjacent and radiating out from where I'm located. I'm on Jefferson and Edge Hill near Tim's Kitchen. And Tim's Kitchen's been closed for a while, so it became like a problem business. And over the year, trying to battle this, you know, crime problem, I've gotten to know the owner, and he's, you know, kind of given me some more information about what is preventing some of these owners from actually opening up their businesses. So, you know, then I got to know this woman named Letty. I believe you might know her, Laura. She's
Yeah.
a real estate agent.
Filter. Mhm.
And she says she was involved with UNNC for a while, but she just bought a building or a property on Jefferson and opened it. And she also had this problem. So, you know, she said she had lots of ideas about beautification. There was money available. And so she kind of threw this out, but she was so busy last year. And so I've been kind of thinking about that because, you know, just trying to, you know, keep the crime away from this corner, this small corner, I've had to really reach out and find out, how we can all work together to put more pressure to get that to happen. And so it's been a good experience because now I have friends. Like there's an auto shop right here, there's a tire shop, there's a smog shop, there's a repair shop, and because of this common problem that I needed to solve, I got to know these people. And whenever I have fruit growing and I have too much fruit in my backyard, I will go and like give it to them, and then they'll like give me a big discount on my smog check. And
Very
it's
good.
really, yeah, it's been great. And we just are looking at some of these abandoned businesses and saying, how can we encourage them to come back and reinvest, or to make them more accountable to their property and not abandon it. And so I'm just kind of approaching it, one relationship at a time, and then realizing like, wow, we have such a history of amazing businesses here. Like I remember when Talk Hardware was here,
Yeah.
gone, and it's like just these big warehouses now, and I'm like, who's back there? And then a fun fact is like, I grew up, one of as a child, my mom was working at one of those garment factories on Pico, and I grew up
Right.
as a child like in the bins of the garments, and watching all the spools of the threads and the machines. And so it's this is like a neighborhood that I've kind of seen through various phases, and would love to see it become, there's so much potential here, but
Yeah.
it's very big. I think UNNC is a very big, territory. So we
Yeah.
all have our street, we all have our boulevards, really. So
Well, we did have the retreat, and I learned that we are like the biggest neighborhood council.
Or certainly one of the
Biggest.
Yeah.
But there's 70,000 people here.
Well, it's hard to know. This is Laura speaking. Demographics, it's easy to count, somewhat easy to count the residents, but not the way we count community stakeholders, which includes people who work here and business owners. So we have a residential population of about 60,000. We go from Pico on the north to Obama pretty much on the south, Crenshaw on the west, Normandy on the east, but then once you hit Jefferson Park, there's a little zigzag. It's really western, then you go down Jefferson, then you go south on Arlington. So we have a zigzag, and so it's not quite a perfect square. But within that, we're very, very, very diverse in many different ways, which is one of the things that we looked at our retreat. But from a pure demographics, it turned out that something like 22% of our households, the only person who speaks, people who would speak English are age 14 or under, for example. And that's a surprising statistic to me at this point in time, when we see so much gentrification, to understand that what we see isn't demographically significant yet.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it so that's interesting. And it is difficult for 23 board members of a neighborhood council, and we don't actually have a full 23 at the moment, but to represent all those people. And then the city considers that there's another 20,000 or so non-resident stakeholders. So they consider us as having 80,000. North area neighborhood North area Economic Development Neighborhood Council, NANDAC or NANDAC, or whatever how they pronounce it, also is similarly large, but that's because it's got the USC student population.
Oh, yeah.
So when you add, I mean, they're even larger because the population of USC is 50 to 60,000. If you include staff.
Yeah.
Some.
So I have a question. I drive down Jefferson Park to Culver City quite a bit, and I noticed that there is a artist district West Adams art signet signage that is starting to, it crossed over from, Jefferson Park West to Jefferson Park East of Crenshaw. So, and there are so many buildings along, beautiful, like warehouses are being converted west of, Crenshaw on Jefferson. And I'm just wondering what is happening because it looks
Well,
beautiful, but it's empty.
yeah, those signs, the signs for the Jefferson Artist District went up around 2015, 2016. And there was for a minute, a lot of artists in the, like right around, what's the street that thing goes down to? It's with an F, it's a station. It goes to the high school. The high school is Fair or something. Anyway,
Fairview.
maybe. Anyway, a little west of here, and there was a
Fairfax.
no,
Oh.
no. It's right by Dorsey High School. It's the exposition stop at Dorsey High School, and then on Jefferson. Because one or two of the business property owners basically started putting up the signs
Oh,
to encourage more artists to move in, and there used to be open houses. It's great. I don't know if the artists are still there, but just not having events. But there were artist crawls, which was fun. I have noticed, well, son, I think you're friends with Connie also.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she had to move where her
Yes, I remember that.
right, her liquor store market had to move because where she was being demolished. And it looks like what they built is, artsy fartsy, although I'm not sure if it's been occupied yet or not. There's surprising pockets here and there of that kind of activity. I do know that one of the longtime coffee houses, Alibi, which was
I went there today.
the new
I went to
Alibi,
the new one, yeah.
but the old Alibi was on Venice, just east of Western. They're now located in at Budlong, more or less, in the old Boulogne coffee house. But the point is that building, if you went there today, but did you look around behind and in back?
It was the last actor's studio, and yes, there was like another
it's a
thing.
huge complex.
Right.
It's all arts and production. It's very arts,
Yes.
and that's why Alibi moved there.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really great.
Yeah. So I think the thing is like once artists move in, they don't want anyone to know about it because their rent will double and triple if it becomes too popular. So I think I just don't know.
Yeah.
So
no.
Don't know. Also, she's not here tonight. I was hoping she would be, but the gal who runs the pottery place.
Pottery.
Well, it's called Pot something. It's on 12th and Jefferson.
Yeah.
And I believe, and son, you probably know better, that she has organized one or two or three kind of small walkabouts where the businesses right in that neck of the woods participate in an open house day.
Is she? This is Robbie. Is she the one that Caesar knows? Who wants to get involved?
Right.
We'll try to get her on the next meeting.
Right. So, and she was at the Leslie shop, which I didn't go to, so
I didn't see her.
she was running she may not have been there. Her business was there. They were teaching the kids pottery. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the owner of the property, and he's actually, and because I was talking to him because he was interested in buying more property to start to expand businesses that are similar to the pottery business, which I thought would be fantastic for the Tim's Kitchen site. But
right. So do you think Tim will never reopen the kitchen?
Oh, he wants to, but he's he's got a sick wife, and I think it's been a very long, it's a very long conversation, but ultimately,
I was gonna say
property.
It wasn't that he had the best food, but boy, that's a little classic setting.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential there, but I think he's either his wife is gonna get better or not get better, in which case I think he's he might sell, in which case it might become a development site. So,
Got it.
looking at, all of the development that is slated for Jefferson right now, I think that, that's what he's waiting for.
Got it. Well, most of the development that's happening on Jefferson is housing oriented. I will say, because I kind of know the people who did Adams,
Mhm.
and the initial investors were buying up little buildings and plopping businesses into them. And then CIM and Shaul, the owner, got involved. And what he did is essentially start inviting really good chefs. And I'm guessing he did not charge an arm and a leg for the rent,
Mm.
to create this
Business.
dynamic where Adams has become a destination, a foodie destination. So, that's not going to be emulatable everywhere, because not everyone is going to have the deep pockets that CIM has to, buy a bunch of land,
Yeah.
develop it, but then not rent the commercial spaces for a lot of money.
Sean, I just want to check to see if you wanted to share anything.
Just listening and learning at the moment.
Okay, so I will say, we've had a lot of meetings this week. And Sun's been at and
Oh.
she might think that we spend an awful lot of time at UNNC talking about local schools, which we do not, but we happen to have this week. But we also, there was a lot of talk this week about eradicating blight. And I don't know if that's this committee, I mean, in other words, I don't know where that lands. It's kind of a public safety issue, not kind of, it is a public safety issue, but it's also, when you have blight, it makes it really difficult to attract business.
Okay, just can we clarify what blight is?
Graffiti, trash on the street, prostitution, blight, neglected,
Yes.
abandoned, vacant,
Yes.
neglected buildings.
And-
I'm saying there's been, in different contexts, a lot of discussion this week.
Well, and this is Rabia and Sean, I know you and I have talked about this in our neighborhood. We do have a lot of prostitution, like all the time. So that's something that I think is a deterrent for
Right.
business, and it would be great to figure out how to have less of that. And also, that Sun you talked about, crime, it's keeping businesses from really wanting to
Right.
develop here. So
Right.
we do need to figure out how we can get the city to pay more attention to the crime happening.
Right, so, and that would be almost having a joint meeting at some point with our public safety committee, which would not be the next few months, since public safety is planning fire service day and emergency preparedness workshop, so I don't think.
Well, we do have coffee with
Coffee with a
cops.
cop. Yes, we do. Yes,
Yeah.
we do. In just less than about a month from now.
Yeah, so that would be a good place to
Yeah.
just meet faces.
Right,
And start from.
right. So, and then, the vacant abandoned buildings is a little different. What we were talking about last night, and just for our transcriber, this is Laura speaking again, is the too many buildings are being burned down by the feeling like it's on purpose to wipe the lot out, so that it's available to build.
Right.
So that, that's an issue, it's another issue. And then one thing we have learned, because, we've worked very closely with some of the builders of the 100% affordable housing, the nonprofit builders in affordable housing. And they have had a very difficult time renting their commercial spaces. And that is because essentially they're occupants, they're people without much money. So it's difficult to convince some businesses that the surrounding neighborhood is gonna support the business, even if the people in the building itself are not gonna have enough spare money to be their major, supporter. So at the Gramercy Apartments on Washington, the space finally got rented, the commercial space. It was meant to be a cafe, not a coffee house, a cafe. And they never could find, all the nonprofit cafes like
Homegirl, homeboy.
Homegirls, Homeboys, With Love. Well, South LA didn't exist, yeah. With Love, which is on Vermont. They all wanted, essentially, they wanted money from Gramercy Housing to be there. They didn't want to pay rent, they wanted to be paid. Because that's their kind of their model. So while they're doing culinary training and things like that, it didn't work out. So they ended up, it's fine, they ended up renting to Rediscover, which is a great nonprofit. So Saffron and Associates is renting to South LA Cafe on Jefferson and 4th. And I don't know who's going to be their tenant at their new building that's opening on Washington and 3rd Avenue. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if there's a real, quote, real business that goes in.
Yeah.
Because the other one didn't get one. And I'd heard this kind of story from others as well. So, I think we're back to blight, graffiti, dying trees,
Yeah.
all of these things turn business owners off.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to like what Michael was saying about getting more business to come here, and maybe there's something with like a walk on Washington or the Leslie Shaw thing to show that the community is ready for stuff like that, to entice them. So maybe we can talk more about that going forward.
Okay. So, son, I have another question for you. This is Laura again. The Jefferson Park Safety Committee, that
Park
Sandra
what?
calls it. Yeah. Yes, that. Do many of the business owners go to that, or is it mostly residents?
I mean, Connie's there, and depends on the, like it's mostly residents, but it's a pretty, seems like a pretty reliable group. I know that that's how I got started, because I got, my home was burglarized, and, like the only way to really feel safe was to like get to know my neighbors. And I realized that that's really the only thing you can really do. And they really made me feel empowered, because, everyone there was scared because everyone's been a victim of something or another. So it was a good place to be. And
Well, I've been to this is Robbie. I've been to the Jefferson Park watch meeting a few times, and like it does have a very good turnout. And I think that the businesses know that, and every time I've been there, there's been a business coming to promote themselves, to talk about the business and say that there's been new businesses. The Truffle Brothers were there one time.
Oh, were they?
Yes, and then like the new French school came to tell everyone they were opening up a preschool French school. So
Didn't even know we had a French school.
yeah, it's new. I think it just opened this past fall. So, maybe we can, try to build our committee, and then the businesses will want to come here as well. Yes, Sean.
Hey, sorry, I've been on mute mostly. I've got my little one here who's a little chatty, so I didn't want to interrupt the conversation. But I wondered if there was maybe success stories from the neighborhood. I know we have a relatively new veterinarian on Jefferson, near the Circus Liquor, and it seems like they're doing well. Cafe 5 also seems to be doing well. The Pilates studio, I think, is a little further out of our area, but close enough where our neighbors go, and my wife goes, and they seem to be doing very well. And so I think I wonder whether there's
sort of success stories we could highlight, where even though we have some of these more sticky issues like the prostitution that's been here for a very long time, and the trash is an issue, and Robbie's right. My wife and I are sort of looking at sort of neighborhood options for that, and we do sort of voice things to Heather Hutt and her team and Officer Alexander are slow and everything else. But that's a slow burn, right? That's going to be a long-term thing. But there's businesses that are successful sort of in spite of that. And I think partly because there's so much demand by people in this neighborhood to stay in the neighborhood and, to go to dinner in the neighborhood or get a coffee or, take their dog to the vet. And, so those challenges are real and hard, and we're new to the neighborhood relatively, 4 years or so. And so we understand that, some of these issues have been around a very long time. But, we have new businesses moving in who seem to be making it work and doing well and thriving. And maybe they could help us understand how to maybe frame the opportunities here better than, certainly I can.
Well, the two most successful businesses on Washington are not really, their stories are not emulatable. So one is Surface, which, do you know what Surface is?
No.
Oh, Surface is at 3rd in Washington. They used to be in Culver City. They're the premier destination, like for chefs, for
I've seen it.
restaurant supply and cookware, and they have a little cafe. But they're, people know of them. And in fact, on our sort of vision for Washington Boulevard, because we had all these restaurant supply places that were improperly run. And so we wanted to still have that little section of Washington between Arlington and 4th, pretty much, to be a chef's center, but looking better. So Surface has done very well. However, even though they were forced to put a door on Washington Boulevard, they were not forced to unlock it. And they tried for a little while to have it open some of the time, and they've just given up and they've blocked it completely, and they only want people entering from the park. So, so I think we're back to it's not a pleasant pedestrian oriented situation. And then the other one that's very successful in terms of their own business is what we keep calling Truffle Brothers, but Truffle Brothers is the name of the primary business. So they bought the old Bank of America building at 12th Avenue, Washington, some years ago. And they're a major wholesaler of truffles and other imported goods from Italy. And they also, don't just supply at least 100 restaurants with truffles, but they also prepare, their kitchen is very active. They're preparing food there that's being served at other restaurants.
Yes.
And then separately, they open this front of the store, as it were, this little cafe. And it is, as far as I know, not really profitable, but rather it's where they invite chefs to come be entertained. And then a lot of us go. In other words, it's a really delightful place, but I can't imagine they're making a lot of money. It's just how to get people into the room. So I don't know that either of those stories can be copied.
Yeah.
The other thing I have noticed is what so many ice cream stores are now opening.
I've been noticing in our neighborhood.
Oh yeah, you got one on Western. The Mickle.
Oh, that has not been in for a long time?
That one's been there for a long time, but we now have 2 more Baskin and Robbins, 3 more of these Mexican ice cream places, at least 3, maybe 4. And I thought something had opened on Jefferson as well, but I don't even know the why of it.
Oh, I don't know. It's 95 degrees in March, so there we go.
That might be the why of it.
Sean?
Yes.
Yes, you have your hand raised. Is it an old?
Oh,
raised
sorry. I
hand?
think it was the original hand there. Sorry about that.
No problem. Michael, did you wanna?
I did have a question. I got disconnected for a while. So perhaps this is already off topic. I was actually going to ask back to the Surface thing. At some point, they were trying to get a liquor license. Do we ever know what happened to?
I think they never finished their application, to be honest, but it may be because they have a new process at the city and it's an easier process and they may have just had to do a start over.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, because he had mentioned it to me, but they've never turned anything in such that,
Well,
I mean-
I saw that like ABC sign out front where they were
right, but
obviously.
they never got the condition, they've never applied for a conditional use permit.
Mhm,
They need
okay.
the ABC first, and then they apply for a conditional use permit.
So I was gonna say that could be something that we could provide value for, is allowing smaller businesses the ability to just navigate that kind of bureaucracy and figuring out that kind of thing. Because I mean, I know liquor and like wine and beer is, you know, a large source of most restaurants' revenues. So, you know, that could allow us to be an accelerant on those kinds of things.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Sun?
Regarding the liquor license, I think that there would be some community, discussions about that. I noticed that that was a source of contention because it brings more people who are unruly. Because I believe, like, I think Colleen was in this meeting yesterday, but I think she's brought up the Black
Yeah, the
History
Circle
Museum.
Liquor,
Yeah,
yeah.
wanted the
Hidden
liquor.
history,
And
yeah.
there's so many liquor stores along Jefferson Boulevard that even though I know Connie and Suki's, I'm just saying, I mean, I think
Well, I mean, I think it was
alcohol,
like a liquor license for a liquor store and then like a beer and wine license for a restaurant. I think
sure.
they're lumping them together is,
Sure.
you know.
Well, but you're both right. When Truffle Brothers was applying for its liquor license, that's how we all got to know them before COVID. Now this is high end. They're importing wine from Italy, and it starts at these days. Well, I don't even know what it starts at now with the tariffs, but it was starting at $26 a bottle and going to 50. But indeed, there were community people who were writing letters to the ABC opposed to it. And finally, the priest from the Catholic Church across the street got involved,
Yeah.
and he started going door to door, on
For
behalf
or against?
for the liquor, and his friends from Italy, let me just say it that way, who run Truffle Brothers. But it is true, there are people who do not want more liquor sales no matter what, and because they're worried that it would be like a liquor store. But
Right, but
Surface was, yeah.
I was gonna say, I think that's an area where we could help educate them. 'Cause I think we want
Right.
more Truffle Brothers. We want more Surface. We don't want more sort of cheap liquor stores with bulletproof glass. And they're
Yeah,
not the same thing.
three J's on my corner, exactly, although they behave
Yeah.
pretty well these days.
Sun?
How about, I'm thinking about this as well, and I'm thinking, how about connecting the people who do have liquor licenses here already, like the liquor stores, with the places that want the liquor license, so that they can share that liquor license for events, but then it's like not more liquor licenses, but kind of connecting two businesses together to say, hey, you guys have one thing that this other business might need.
Unfortunately, that's not the way that liquor licenses work in the
Oh,
city.
okay.
Yeah, and I also think that we can't get involved in that kind of legal.
Yeah, probably not. But what we also learned with the application by the Hidden History Museum, we learned that they are able to and do get one day, if you're gonna have an event, you can get a 1-day liquor license apparently rather easily.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So we could let people know about, but I think.
Yeah, but that
educating-
turns out that's what's pissed off the neighbors.
Mm,
They were upset because they were serving liquor already without
Yeah.
having a conditional use permit, but it turned out they're doing it legally
oh.
because they're doing it.
I remember.
Yes.
Interesting.
Interesting, so we might not be wanting to share that tip.
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah.
it's definitely something we'll get into
Right.
as these things evolve.
Okay, Well, I think, I want to pull us, Laura, I want to pull us back.
Yeah,
Do we want to keep for the moment the already in place mission statement to interface with business stakeholders? We're not interfacing with beautification, but this is the words. Do beautifications and improve our business corridors for the moment, just. to get us-
yes, I motion to.
You don't even need, if you're sticking to what's there, we don't need to do a motion.
Well, let me just make sure, son, Michael, how do you feel about sticking with the current mission statement?
I think that's certainly fine, that as this grows and progresses over time, that if it, we need to have a change, that we could revisit it at that point.
And then I'd like to suggest that we reach out, I mean, I could give you the information to the our visiting Latino bid and ask them if they would come, if somebody could come to one of your meetings to talk about what they're doing to address some of the things we're talking about on pickleball. Because for example, the Papa Christos building apparently is suddenly horribly covered with graffiti.
Well, they sold it.
I understand.
Oh, yeah.
I understand that the restaurant shut down, and the people who bought it are now talking about doing some sort of not public storage, but a new storage building. I read this in Next Door
I
or
read it
something.
too.
Yeah, but they want to invite Papa Christos back to have a restaurant on the first floor, so that's their way of sweetening the deal, because people are pissed off. They don't want a storage building, they want something that's more neighborhood, service. But that said, in the meantime, it's just covered with graffiti. And, so how does this happen? You go from perfectly lively business to blight almost overnight. And that's right in the heart of this other bid, so I think it'd be an interesting discussion.
Oh, I was going to also say, I feel like Loyola could also probably be someone that we could reach out to. I'm sure that they carry some degree of just weight, that as we look to, things like that, that's right in their backyard.
Well, there is a bid, and they have, I mean, it's public. I mean, they have public monthly meetings and everything. Not that I ever go, but I do seem to receive their emails. But they have a full-time, they have an employee who runs it. So, and I think it's done through mine. So, I mean, it might be worth hearing from them.
No, absolutely. I think we should reach out to them and hear their horror stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how they solve it.
And how they overcame.
What else?
And
when do you want to have another meeting?
Yeah, when should we have another meeting? Well, I think for our next meeting, our goal is to get more people to come. And I think we need to reach out to the businesses and have them come. So realistically, maybe what are our options?
Well, I think this third Thursday of a month is a fairly good option, because I don't see Hunter having a lot of communications meetings. But I don't know if you want to meet every month, or if you want to try every other month, or you want to skip a month and
With
May.
Yeah, every other month. Well, we'll just go month by month right now. What do you think?
I will volunteer to perhaps do something. I'll see if I can. I'm a software engineer by trade, so I'll see if I can find a public data set that would have the businesses that I can call that are within our boundaries, and then put that someplace so that we have that. So next time we meet, assuming I can make it, I'll deliver that. Otherwise, I'll email it to you at some point.
Okay.
Right, and we've been talking about east-west corridors, but of course, we also have
North-south.
we have Western and we have Crenshaw.
Yeah.
I mean, Normandy is not a business corridor in our within our neighborhood.
And Arlington is not.
Oh, God, no. Let's count the 7-Eleven that's corner of Venice.
They have a gas station.
Not on that corner. Yes, you're right. No, they have Bob's Tires,
Yeah.
which is not even called Bob Tire, but I think of that as a Washington Boulevard
Yeah,
business. So, okay.
well, let's plan to meet in May.
Mhm.
And I did make a whole list of stuff here. What can I do with this? How can I made a whole list of all the things we talked about in GX.
So it's kind of like minutes,
Notes,
notes,
yeah,
right? And noting, and we'll have a whole transcript for this.
and we'll
too.
have a whole transcript.
So are there I don't want to take an assignment other than put you
Yeah.
in contact with.
Well, Michael volunteered himself
Right.
for an assignment that he made, which is great. I love
Well,
that assignment.
Wait a minute, let's give Sun an assignment. You could announce at the Jefferson Safety Meeting that this committee exists.
I saw that the Jefferson Watch sent
Sandra
an email
does.
out.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
that's good.
Sandra does.
Okay,
yeah. And
Well,
but maybe we'll bring some of the business owners that you know to the next meeting.
well, I was gonna say UNNC is at the April.
Oh. So
Well, it's not necessarily a good thing. It's to make people happier about. Caesar mentioned the ideas that he is working on for traffic mitigation on Jefferson. And it did not go over well. So we've been summoned to do a better presentation, which may or may not go over well. But we will be at the April meeting.
All right, well, I'll try to come as well for support. And then for Sun, could you maybe ask if like Tim from Tim's Kitchen or any other business owners would like to come to our next meeting?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say Connie used to be pretty involved.
Yeah,
But
I
when I
talked to
see-
her about it as well. I think
Yeah.
they're just really busy and there's just,
Yeah.
there's just
Look-
realized it's just unless there's a reason,
Yeah.
they've got too many things going on. So
Well,
I'd like
what
to go
is-
to them with
Yeah.
information.
What I was gonna say is just that I recognize that what was true a decade ago is not true today. So I think she was actually on this committee
Huh.
before,
Okay.
but and but I don't really know, because I've only been in leadership since late 2019. So the Economic Development Committee was one of our strongest ones.
And it's no longer, and then it died.
And then it died. Well, COVID killed everything,
Yeah.
and then it did not revive well.
And here we are.
And
So
here we
I
are.
think that like we have the mission statement, we're gonna go with that for now. Michael's gonna get some data for us. We're gonna try to get some more.
I'll put you in contact with Byzantine, let you know. I mean,
Yes.
I'll do a combination email,
An email,
right?
and we're gonna try to get some more business owners. I think we still have more development of the committee
Right.
to do.
Well, I can ask Frank from Surface if he get involved.
Yeah,
I mean, he does events and, I mean, he's
Yeah.
bringing out other businesses to
Okay.
his place, so.
So the thing I'd like to do is I'm gonna just try to meet more of the business owners in the area and just find out what their thoughts are.
exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I'd like to do.
And we're gonna try and get
And I'll
Mandy,
report back.
the pottery person,
Oh, okay, yes.
her name is Mandy.
One of my bosses named.
No,
Mandy.
not your
And I was
Mandy.
like, why is that?
Why Mandy coming, yeah,
She
no,
lives in Glendale.
not that Mandy.
Yeah. Okay,
But your goal would be to have more business owners here as participants on the committee.
business owners and some more people just to get an idea of like what the community is looking for. More ideas better. Now we don't have to do everything, but just to like test the waters.
Yeah.
And see what's possible.
Right, and Sun's right about Letty, she was kind of accidentally very involved with UNNC because her ex-husband, not her current husband, was on our board. So she got dragged.
Mm.
You know how that is.
Yeah. I told my husband to stay home.
Okay then. Yeah, No, but she owns a company. I mean, you know, if she can't be involved, because she's very busy and she lives in South Bay, but maybe one of the other realtors in the office could get involved.
Yeah, I think this is the first meeting and we
Mhm.
just need more. I think we could all do it, just the 5 of us, but we'll try to get some more people, so it's not all on us.
Okay, yeah. 'Cause
Laura? Laura, I wanted to say yesterday's meeting regarding the mural project was really inspiring. The Patterson mural.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I would love to see more of that on Jefferson because I think art does bring a lot of kind of shops and more businesses that are pedestrian friendly.
yeah, and do you know that the offices for Nomad, which is another mural making company, are right next to Cafe 5, same complex.
Oh,
And yet they're not at all engaged with this community. I mean, they're busy, you know, they do murals all over the place, but not here, which is interesting since they are physically here.
I'm sure they would love to get involved though. I will talk to.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
As, yeah, I mean, a mural, I mean, I was surprised to learn how much money it takes to put up a mural. It's very, very expensive on a public building. I mean, a legit mural that the city's paying for, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's well over $1 million. I mean,
Oh my God.
What
yeah.
what
Well,
about
I mean,
the
for the whole project.
what about
There were,
the one across from the library, Leslie Shaw's
oh,
library?
that was gorgeous and that probably was very different. But this project that we talked about last night or Tuesday night, whenever it was. It was Tuesday night. That process, it was through the Cultural Affairs Department. There were more than 80 applicants.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and I was one of the judges on the panel. So yeah, ooh, but it was like so much work. It was
Hope you
so-
picked a good one.
I think this wasn't necessarily my personal first choice, but what we did is we, you know, everything, we had to score everything. I mean, every single one of these had to be scored, and then the top 5 or 6 scorers were given funds to come up with more complete ideas. And then we scored again, and then, you know, so this was one, but it was interesting because of the I mean, just that part of the process alone was really expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it sounds.
Yeah, and then the materials that they have to use are really expensive because they have to be graffiti proof materials.
Right,
So,
that makes sense though.
Oh,
We're-
why didn't I ever know about it? This is the one committee I would have joined.
oh,
It's the last meeting.
it's the
Oh.
first meeting.
Yeah,
I was like, this
Okay.
is her, she's got all these.
No, not me, this is Rob.
gonna be
No,
mine.
you come up with the park board, I mean, she came up with all the, I'm so glad you approved it, or you brought it up, sorry.
I'm not God.
Well,
Wasn't up to me to just prove.
I hope you'll come to our next meeting.
Yes, and I'm here.
Yeah,
In the past, I've had to take off this to become quorum, but I'm here to help. But this Sunday is the 16th anniversary of the Wellington Square Farmers Market. And they're having a special band and special vendors, so just trying to.
are they? But they didn't send out a special email.
I know, that's, I test to them, okay, point is. Do I say something, do I send it to you, who do I,
You can send me something.
okay,
I'll let people know.
this is
Anyway.
fantastic,
Okay.
Okay, yeah,
we haven't had a bid ever, and this is fantastic,
we're gonna try.
yes. I
Okay.
vow to
Okay,
be.
I'll put that on the list too. Thank you. Get a bid.
Yeah. See
No,
what it takes.
she's very humble, she's been very innovative and instigative, really, she's really good,
I can tell.
yes.
I mean, I'm getting those vibes too.
Okay.
Okay,
But this, now I wanna go home.
yes, yes. How do we go home? Okay, so our
Okay.
next meeting date will be the 3rd Thursday in May.
And by then we'll have our own Zoom link that's more permanent. It won't be this one. Yeah, so don't try to log in on this Zoom link again, because I just used the communications committee Zoom link for this one,
We'll send a new link.
right? And.
And any other, we're closing. We're going to adjourn now.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank-
Take care. Take care, everyone.
And I have to show adjourn. So we have to first review two. And we have to